What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Civilization 5 Old World AI only battle. It's pretty exciting. There's a lot going on in the world. Anything could happen still. I think a lot of things still to be decided as well. We got some sleeping giants. We've got some emerging nations. We've just had a big change in East Asia with Korea taking out Siam and most of Japan. So yeah, things could get very interesting. And of course, we've got all the settling going on as well that could change things. So yeah, there you go. My categorization of the civs at the moment, I think Rome, Russia and Korea are still the three top powers for now, but I think France, Congo, and there was one more, no, maybe just France and Congo. I mean, the Zulu were doing pretty good too, but they're just sort of stuck. France and Congo are certainly emerging. I think they could round out a top 5 with a bit more comfort. It's still a bit up in the air, but I think those two could solidify positions 4 and 5 and potentially higher on their current paths. But who knows? We will see. Things can change. Portugal could certainly get up there. You know, you've got Nubia, who look pretty good, but I just worry for them a little bit, being next to between Congo and Rome. But we'll see. I mean, look how it worked out for Mongolia, right? Between Korea and Russia. And there it is, Memphis falling to Congo. So Egypt now down to 1 city, and if Congo get this, that's 30 population as well. They will certainly be climbing those rankings and contributing to a heck of a lot of border gore. But there you go, what can you do? As Ethiopia, oh no, sorry, that's a different city. Harappa now takes Damascus. So yeah, that could be it. Beginning of the end for Arabia, because now I think Harappa will hold on to that. Ethiopia's making more progress. It could be Mecca next, although Rome is actually kind of in the way, which is kind of weird. I don't know how they got here, but they're stuck there. Memphis, they must have open borders with like somebody to have got here. I'm guessing Nubia, but you never know. Maybe they had it with Nubia and then lost it. Who the heck are you fighting? It's England. I would say Morocco over Rome, right? Surely, but they couldn't have got through here, so I don't know who England's fighting. Maybe they are fighting Rome and they just can't get to each other. Egypt and Morocco do peace out, which helps Egypt a tiny bit. I mean, it's one less enemy. Morocco's pretty stacked with the units themselves. They've just been doing their own thing the whole game. They don't care. Just vibing over there. Egypt here. Okay, right. Finland. How are you doing? You've been a bit quiet. Helsinki's quite a big city. Let's do that. We haven't looked at that for a while. Biggest cities in the world, Helsinki and Thebes. There you go. They've both had some screen time in the first few minutes of this episode. Finland both at 30 population. Then there's a drop to 28 for Moscow, 26 for St. Petersburg. Then there's some Congo cities, Harappa's city as well, Lisbon, London, Berlin. Third Russian city up there as well. They do have the most pop, so that makes sense. We continue on. We keep hitting next turn. Turn 250 as well. Pretty big point in the game. Most civs now, even some of the worst ones, starting to have access to better technologies. You know, most civs have got some sort of gun unit. It's probably the best way to describe them. You know, a Gatling gun, a rifleman, some sort of unit that uses that kind of stuff. Or, you know, ironclads kind of becoming commonplace over privateers. So it's definitely the industrial age of this game. You gonna do something for us? Come on. Would be cool if they did. They don't seem to have like a huge army. I don't know. They have settled a new city internally, which will obviously suck some of the population and food out of the other ones probably. But it can be, we've seen it done before, like to build food. I'm not build food, sorry, to have more production. I think that's generally the sort of the way to go, or why they do it. Just somewhere else to build stuff, as opposed to, I mean, I don't know if it matters. You know, St. Petersburg could probably build anything in a couple of turns, but you know, it's just an extra one. It does boost them up a little bit. They were tied from 10 cities or whatever with quite a few other civs, so it pushes you up in the info addicts as well. So the AI obviously is not aware that they're being judged on that, but technically it does have an impact. Biggest armies, Congo still leading the way. This is a different number to the one we see in the info addicts, but Rome, Korea, kind of close, and then a bit of a drop. Not much. Okay, that's all very close, and then there's a bit of a drop to France. But yeah, pretty interesting. Zulu were second previously and have dropped off. It's probably not that they've dropped off. The gap is probably the same. I think Rome and whoever the other one was. Was it Russia? Roman, Korea, or Russia? Whoever it was that is coming to second. I've forgotten already. Whoever it was is, probably just filled the gap as opposed to, the Zulus probably not just lost like a load of troops. But here we go. Demographics, still a kind of good general measure, and it's still very split. Russia's still leading population and crop yield. Rome still has the top production. Russia's had the top economy for a while since they took that off Rome. Land still with Korea. Congo's taken the lead in soldiers, and Korea's still pretty dominant in literacy. I mean, you can see compared to the averages how big some of these numbers are. Russia nearly 4 times the population, 2.5 times, something like that. Basic. I'm doing really rushed maths in my head here. 3 times Rome, and a lot of rounding. Nearly 3.5 times, maybe there. That is 3 times plus. Nearly double the average in soldiers. Quite impressed the average is 200k. I think having a 0 included doesn't help. And Korea's 21% above the average literacy rate, which is again, that is dragged down a bit by like my 0. So again, that might be a little bit high. The actual number might be 63 or something. But then again, there's a lot of civs, so the 0 is not a huge disaster. And this doesn't particularly matter. We're not going to use the average again, but here it is. Mecca could fall, and that would be Arabia eliminated. That would only be like the 3rd civ or something eliminated. Like most of them are still around. Siam is gone. China's gone. That's 2 out of Asia. Japan still survived, so they're still around. So yeah, it's Japan. No, sorry, not. I literally just Siam and China. In Europe, I think everyone is still around who started. Byzantium has 1, but still around. And then in Africa, someone died. Carthage died, but everyone else again is still, who started the game, is still here. So not many have gone, but Arabia would join that list. Were Ethiopia to be successful? I'm pretty sure I just said Ethiopia, and then it sounded like that, and afterwards I was like, what on earth am I doing? It's Ethiopia. But you make enough videos in enough days, and your whole brain just gets sort of scrambled. But here we go, Ethiopia. I probably just did it again. I feel like it's just I don't know what that is. I'm just it sounds like it. It's probably not, and now I'm just worried about it. Ethiopia is closing in. They have Mecca surrounded here, so they should get themselves, well, not only are they getting a city of a lot of importance in the real world, not so much in this game, sadly, just because they didn't get a religion, which is really unusual. Arabia normally always does, but there you go. Maybe they did and then it just got converted away, or maybe someone just took, did Babylon take Islam? Yeah, maybe they just never tried. But they're going to get a lot of copper from this Ethiopia, a lot of and gold and ivory, so that's pretty useful, plus any strategic resources with the city as well. But yeah, all of a sudden that's really useful. You just start trading all that copper away, the 2 spare ones, for money. That's pretty useful. The small things that sometimes we don't focus on in these games. I say this and you'll watch and like Europa will steal the city, or the Ottomans will steal it or something. Anything could happen. Europa now has a bit of an air force. India's got great war infantry. I wonder if they're thinking about preparing. Korea has the mega cargo ships as well. Trading here with Delhi. It's probably helping India actually, trading with Korea. I know in the trade routes it you get money from being traded with as well, so I never really pay attention to that, but it is, Korea's probably helping India out a lot if they're just trading with them. I don't know exactly who Korea's main trade partners are. They don't need a great scientist. Who gave them that? Give it to someone else who needs it more. Japan, I wonder where they're trading. I would assume just with Babylon. I don't know if they'd go straight back to Korea. They might do. I'm also just looking here, like, I know they have infantry. Yeah, there it is. I was like, they must have some pretty cool units by now in the future. Mobile SAM, and a rocket artillery, and regular fighter jets as well. So Korea. And a bomber, so that's pretty strong still. They are probably untouchable at the moment. Very capable military. We'll see how they put it to use. It is a balancing act for them. Do you have a big army so you can go inland? Do you have a big navy so you can go and take control of the Pacific and things like that. It is a decision, right, to be made. Russia don't have to make that decision. I guess the choice for them is, do we put our army in the west or the east? And even then, that's not as bad, because they can move over. If Korea invests into loads of boats, they cannot help you against Mongolia. But I'm sure they'll be fine. But I'm just saying, it's an interesting decision. Korea is probably technologically past that decision, but for some civs, it's certainly an interesting one. France could be another example there. I would probably say stick to the military units if you're gonna. Well, you should stick to the army. The argument for having a bigger army for France is Rome. It's just here. But then the argument would also be that if your army's not good enough to beat Rome, you should sort of specialise somewhere else. Go have a strong navy. Take out, go control the Atlantic instead, and be strong in your own way instead of sort of cowering and just preparing for the inevitable. It's an interesting one. That's why it's a strategy game, I guess. But there's plenty more settlers heading across. That Congo one that I said was destined for South America actually is going to North America. It's on its way upwards. These cities are probably going to get cut off from Congo at some point by France and Portugal. A long way to go till then, but once this gap closes and this gap closes. But they do have a settler heading up. There's a French settler here as well. We'll see where that goes. And I think I saw 2 Portuguese ones as well. Another one arrived and another one on the way. And there it is. Ethiopia does eliminate Arabia from the game. A couple of units surviving. But there we go. A bit of growth from Ethiopia, and that's kind of cool. They could certainly still get in the top 10 for this game. I think getting in the top 10 is pretty reasonable for a lot of civs right now. Like, that doesn't, I think it's a very open game where being in the top 10 is very achievable for most of the civs that are still playing. Maybe, I don't know, there's like 30... There's 29, 28 still sort of alive. Maybe 5 to 10 of them have no chance. So that leaves, maybe 18, 19 competing for the top 10 spots. Poland goes freedom, which is a bit of a surprise. Just didn't see that happening. How does Korea have 4 capitals? Oh, they have China's. Portugal and Burundi have peaced out, and Portugal just settled the other side of France as well. I thought we might get a canal, but no. We'll see where that other settler ends up as well as this continues. Arabia making peace deals with their enemies. They are going to kick around with a couple of units. I'll probably get rid of those at some point if I remember. Or I'll let them just wander around for eternity. This Korean rifleman, pretty sure that's still stuck here from before. And these cannons, just trying to negotiate a way home. You can tell the civs know. Russia knew they were in competition with Korea, and they were like, nope, your army's here, it's staying here. The funny thing is that was probably, I don't know what calculating, what sort of statistics the AI runs on to make that decision, but it probably wasn't. It wasn't thinking, oh, they're our enemy, let's trap all their troops here. It was probably like Korea's not going to pay enough or something like that, and that was why. But it worked out really well in the short term. I mean, there's just Korean units scattered all over the map trying to get home. Portugal and Rome team up on Morocco. Okay, that's big. That is huge. This is one of those events that springboards a load of other events, and we'll see how this pans out. But yeah, I think this doesn't bode well for Morocco. Portugal have tried this before and got close to getting Marrakesh, and it didn't really work out. And at some point, Mali joined in as well. Did I miss that? I must have missed that. Oh no, wait, what? Nubia v Mali? What? I'm so confused, but Mali's in this war anyway. So yeah, this is going to be a pretty quick devouring of Morocco. I said they were just chilling, doing their own thing, either at the end of last episode or this one. That's not so good. Nubia does not border Mali anywhere, so that's not a disaster. But obviously if more people join against Songhai, maybe could come in against Mali. Obviously the Congo would be a big threat. And Portugal and Rome might not stop. But yeah, this is big. Rome needed to do something. They have not really conquered anything this entire game. I know, it sounds ridiculous. I think Carthage is the only city they've taken by force. Every other one was given to them in a peace deal. So kind of by force, but not exactly. And Mongolia did just eliminate the Huns. It took them a few turns, but they got it done. They now have planes. So they're still like... You would not want to be in their shoes, like between Russia and Korea. Just keeping those two apart. Maybe it's a good thing for the world, but not so good for Mongolia. just sort of in between. It's kind of like real life where you've got Russia and China, like two big superpowers, and there's just little Mongolia. Well, not little, it's pretty huge, but Mongolia, relative to those two, sort of just in the middle, just sort of sandwich there. It's kind of the same with Korea instead of China. But yeah, we will focus on this Morocco war, and I'm just keeping an eye on if France or Portugal do put down those settlers anytime soon. See where they end up. Could be pretty interesting. I think the Portugal one might have died. Did it go back? I don't know, it just disappeared. I'm sure it will turn up again. They had another one. I can't see it. Maybe Morocco just caught it, you know, caught it when it wasn't expecting it. Either way, France have theirs. Congo's is, I don't know, again, that one's disappeared too. The seas are treacherous. Oh no, there's Congo's. Okay, maybe Portugal's is hidden underneath something else. It will probably turn up at some point. I think, yeah, it's under there. Look, there it is. Found it. Either way, Mali does bring one plane. Portugal does not have planes, and neither does Rome, surprisingly. So we'll see how that goes. Congo's still trying against Egypt. And Germany declares war on the Ottomans. That does not matter, but it maybe means someone else might attack them soon. I don't know if Germany has any sort of friends. Germany really can't do anything in this game. You got to feel they could. The only thing they can do is like go after England here. That's it. There's no other war I think they would win. They wouldn't get through this one-tile gap to Finland, even if it went really well for them. Ethiopia do border the Ottomans, so this is interesting. Yeah, if that starts to, this could shake things up a bit. Again, Germany probably declared that war because Rome is busy and was not gonna get annoyed about it. But yeah, Morocco so far so good, but they do seem to be surrounded. There's a huge Mali army here. Portugal's ships are here. Rome is obviously coming over this side. This is not going to be fun. And again, you'll probably see Morocco hold out for a while and then capitulate. That could well be the case. France did settle here at the city of Dijon, so they're going to have a nice big portion here. It's kind of cool that they're going to have a big blob. Sometimes we just see a random mess. It's kind of cool to get an actual blob, as Memphis does fall back into Congo hands and leaves Egypt with very little remaining territory. There is not many planes in Europe in general. France has a few, and that's about it. None of them. Even Russia doesn't have any. How do they not have oil? And they get double, so you'd know if they did have some. Yeah, France is the only European nation with planes. Wow. There's not that many on the whole map, to be fair, but Finland v the Ottomans as well. Yeah, I think we'll see the Ottomans probably. I mean, Russia's the big one, right? They were probably the one. I mean, Wallachia, it would get messy, but Russia would be the one that would really start to weaken the Ottomans to a point where you'd worry for them. I don't think any other neighbour can quite threaten them. Nubia could be annoying, but that's about it. India completes the Eiffel Tower, and we get another autocracy, this time the Ottomans, trying to get some friends now that the world seems to be against them, as Mongolia completes the Louvre as well. So they're still definitely in for a top 10. It's just, obviously, the problem for Mongolia is that like their game could be ended at any point, right? Korea and Russia. One of them just has to sort of come over here and make that decision, and it might end for them. But if not, they got a good shot at getting in the top 10. There's still stuff they could do against Poland and Finland. They can get rid of Persia's cities around them as well. This one, I mean, surprised they haven't gone for this one yet, actually, just looking at that. Persia is just so spread out. That is such a mess. And they're still here as well. They're just like, yeah, we're fine. Doing our thing. Ethiopia. I like that from them. The problem, they're never going to get through a one-tile gap and take this, but you never know. They might get a dodgy peace deal or something, as we've seen already go their way. But so far, Morocco holding off, not under any sieges. So that's good. For them, not so good. Maybe for us wanting to see some excitement and some interesting stuff. What are you up to? Are you doing anything in particular, Korea? No, nothing catching the eye. This city's up to 13. That is definitely the best like island settlement. None of the New World cities are at 13. Frankfurt's up to 10, and that's in the tundra. But it was the first one. But yeah, I mean, this is at 9. But yeah, this is definitely going to have an impact. You get a load of 9 and 10 population cities eventually, France. That is going to have a good effect on their info addict scores. I'm wondering, do we include cities or not? Is it fair? Someone rooting for Russia would obviously say no, eventually. Whereas, obviously, if you're rooting for a France or a Portugal, including cities in the score, yeah, great idea. We'll see. We'll see. I'll think about it. I think I'll make the decision before I tally up the results. I'm not a monster. I won't pick the result based on that, but we'll maybe wait a little bit. Korea completes the Sydney Opera House as Babylon... No, okay, that doesn't matter. Babylon v Wallachia. Weird one. But there's definitely tensions in this region, and I can understand why. It is a complete mess of border gore. You have, yeah, I mean, Nubia's got a city that's out of place. Babylon is split in half. Persia's been split up. Russia has a city that's out of place. You can see why a lot of the civs around here probably don't like each other. And a lot of it could probably be solved with the fall of the Ottomans. I mean, if you divided up the Ottomans in the right way, you could probably make a lot of these civs rather happy, but I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. Finland also. Finland's just piping up a little bit, you know. They've been quiet all game, and now they've joined these wars against Wallachia and the Ottomans. They're like, no, we're not standing for this. This is our chance. I have not given Poland much credit at all this game. They're not doing great, and they seem to be technologically terrible. Like, Germany is ahead of them by quite some distance in terms of tech. So I don't know what's going on there. I feel like they probably have similar... I mean, Poland's got a huge amount of big cities as well. I don't want to open the info addicts because it will probably crash, but I'm guessing that Poland is up there based on 5 cities all nearly at sort of, you know, the mostly 17s and 18s, and then Warsaw at 23. They're just so bad. They've done... I know they can't fight Russia, but, you know, you'd think they could go after Wallachia right now. Look, there is not a single military unit in Wallachia around that northern city. You could get this. They probably won't, though. But that is going to be it for today's episode. I hope you're enjoying it. I really am. This is wild. I'm loving this. This is one of the most exciting games in a while. Certainly of a world game. Some of the smaller games on continentals or islands and stuff like the Japan one and stuff, those are obviously different. But for a world game, this is really awesome. There's so much that could still be decided. I think less civs is more. Like, I've spent so long trying to get up to like 60 and making the whole map really balanced that it got kind of stale. Whereas this, where I've given every civ, there was less civs, each one had more chance to be a bigger civ. I think it's worked really well. But I don't know, let me know what you think, of course. Thank you so much for watching. As always, if you have enjoyed, be sure to leave a like and a comment down below. Be sure to subscribe as well if you are new to the channel. And I'll see you in the next one.